All right, good morning. Sorry, I'm finishing breakfast. Hope everyone had a good uh, new year, and 2024 looks like it's gonna be pretty bright. Sorry, finishing my breakfast. Not enough hours in the day. Anyway, I thought I'd do this live and see if anyone had any interest in talking about 2023. Things went right, things went wrong, and then 2024. And like, what's everyone doing? What's your strategy? What are you gonna do going forward? If 2023 was a banner year, what are you gonna do in 2024? Are you gonna try and grow more? Are you going to, just try and, stay where you're going and increase efficiencies, things like that. Anyway, I wrote out a bunch of stuff, and I'm gonna talk about all talk about all this stuff that happened at my business in 2023, and then kind of what I'm going to do in 2024 to move the business forward so that we can continue to offer our customers all these cool high gloss lacquered products and stained products and all the beautiful hardware that we make. And so that's kind of my plan. Okay, so collect my thoughts here. Let's think about these lives. This is kind of the first time I'm really doing this. I did a couple practice ones, but I know that I kind of want to try and stay pithy. So anyway, I've got all these notes. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with talking about 2023. And I'm going to talk about what I plan to do in 2024. And then I'll go ahead and I'm going to go back and I'm going to kind of analyze 2023, and then I'll go kind of into detail about what I'm going to do in 2024. And if anyone sees this or watches this, I'd love the feedback of what your thoughts are. And if you're a business owner, or you're just someone who wants to start a business, or even if you're just a fabricator of things, and you've considered it, maybe this content will be helpful to you. And like I said, reach out to me. I'm always going to do the back and forth thing. I enjoy talking to people, engaging with people. But believe it or not, this is part of my strategy for 2024. So anyway, all right, so 2023, I wrote some notes here. So again, just to show you, I wrote all this stuff out. So I'm not just winging it. 2023, the kind of my summary of the year is that it was the year of volatility, and we just had wild swings up and down, and it was really hard to plan anything. It was very hard to gauge how much labor you were going to need from one month to the next. And it was very hard to gauge materials, right? And we're fairly vertically integrated, meaning, we have control over a lot of our products that go into our pieces of furniture, but not all of it. So we're able to navigate a little bit, but man, it was really hard to plan. So that was kind of the year that summed it up for me, was just the sheer volatility of sales. I'd have months where sales would move 75%, so in round numbers, that would mean one month you had 100,000 and the next month you had 25,000, right? And so it's very hard. And talking to people within our industry, people had very similar experiences. Now, if you had a retail location, it seemed to be, from what I understood, it seemed to be a little bit less volatile, right? People wanted to get back into retail spaces. They wanted to go look at things. People were kind of sick of constantly looking at things online. During the virus that shall not be named, it was people just had enough. Everyone had been done shopping online. They really just wanted to get out in the world, which is why after everything that happened, then everyone started to go shop, or started to go on vacations, and then the vacations slowed down a little bit, and then everyone started to want to go shopping again, but they wanted to go shopping at a physical location. So, and that's going to bleed into my 2024 strategy as well, based on what I've learned from 2024. So another thing I wrote down was the cost to acquire a customer is significantly higher than it used to be. And for reference, on during COVID, we spent $0 on marketing because it wasn't necessary. I mean, people were just scavenging the internet for stuff to buy. I mean, you know how many people I had come into my shop say, "Oh, well, we were going to go on vacation, but since we can't go on vacation, we're going to buy furniture," or "We couldn't have a graduation, so we're going to buy furniture," right? So a lot of the future sales that we would have acquired were basically we got them all in 2021, 2022, and anyway, so the cost to acquire that customer is significantly higher now. So basically, we went from spending $0 to spending as much as $20,000 a month just to acquire customers. So it got very expensive, and that is also going to lead into my strategy for 2024 because I think that the traditional marketing structure could be broken, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Another thing I wrote down is the housing market slowed down, right? With the Fed raising rates. It caused the housing market to slow down a little bit. Not everyone saw that slowdown, but why would you sell your 3% mortgaged home for a 7% mortgage home, right? Like, it takes a very specific person to do that. So as the housing market kind of moved down slowly, so did the furniture sales, right? Now, if you were in a new home, or you were moving into a new home and you had a designer, I think designers stayed fairly busy and are still fairly busy. I see a lot of designers coming to us looking for us to make things for them, to purchase products from us. So I think the designers did okay, but basic furniture sales, I think, slowed down quite a bit due to the high interest rates. So anyway, so we saw that. I mean, we just saw, again, the sales just did this, and overall the sales trajectory for the year. So I get my hand right here, for the year actually was kind of like this. It didn't quite move the way we wanted it to. Normally, October, November are very busy, and this year we just didn't see that. It just kind of tapered off, and the sales were fine, but it just wasn't what we're used to, right? So a lot of volatility again. And then the last thing I wrote down for 2023 was that custom furniture exploded, and this was, again, what I was telling you before, the amount of furniture that the custom furniture that we made, it tripled. And it's because, again, the customers that are buying homes and moving into new homes can afford that custom furniture. It can afford designers, so on and so forth. And that helped us. And I'm sure other people saw that. I'd be very curious to hear what other people saw in 2023. I'll go back through my notes here. Let's see here. I wrote, okay, yeah, sorry. So that's 2023. Okay, those are the things that we saw in 2023. That's how I kind of summed up the year. It was just super volatile. Because the housing market slowed due to interest rates, that kind of not crushed us, but didn't help. And then the fact that people wanted to, touch things again. We don't have a retail location, right? So, although people can come to our facility, we don't market it as such. We don't tell people, that, hey, come on and check us out. So that's, again, it's a 2024 thing. And also started the modern woodrunner, right? So this is another kind of brand that kind of rides on the coattails of the Resplendent Crow. Because I get so many questions and people want to know what it is that I do. And here's a funny thing, that most of our customers are women, right? So 99% of our customers are women. And the people that follow me and that ask me questions, I would say 80% of them are men. So there's a huge untapped market there that we haven't really dug into. So 2024, again, another part of 2024 strategy. So we're gonna jump into that a little bit, but anyway, so those are some of the things that happened in 2023. And like I said, I'll go over this kind of stuff in detail because I've got a bunch of notes about 2023. But before I do that, I'll talk about 2024 and kind of what I'm going to do, my strategy for going forward in 2024. I got kind of notes here. All right, so looks like I got a couple of people on here, which is good. I had no idea. There's one guy who was asking about this, and he asked. I did a kind of like a promo video for doing this live, and he saw the river in the background, and he asked me if I was going to go jump in the river. I told him, well, if I get 100 people on here at one point, like I'll go do a video of me jumping in the Mississippi River. But I think it's a pretty safe bet. Probably not going to get 100 people on here at one time. So anyway, all right, 2024. I'm going to keep this pithy. I'm not going to ramble. All right, 2024. Okay. It's the one thing I wrote down: focus on margin. Okay. that is my number one goal for 2024. As I've been doing this now for 5 years with my wife. She's been doing it, I think, for 7 or 8 at this point. The thing that we've learned is that margin is everything. Um, doesn't matter how much revenue you create, if you don't make money, it doesn't matter. Looks like Mike's got. Oh, good morning, Mike. Nice to see you. What's this? Oh yeah, yeah. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is early. I do 8 a.m. Like I get up at 4 o'clock every morning. I go to bed around 9 or 10. My wife gives me crap because sometimes I'll go to bed at 8:30. But yeah, I'm an early riser, and if it's too early for most people, like they can watch it later because I got things to do today. So but anyway, it's good to see you, Mike. I hope everything's going well. Mike used to paint and prime for me, and has a lot of great skills in furniture restoration. So yeah, good to see him. Anyway, yeah, I wrote focus on margin because again, it doesn't matter how much money you make. So one of the things that we learned during COVID was that we really had a goal of growing revenue. That was kind of our thing. And in 2018, 2019, grow revenue. 2020, grow revenue. Well, when 2021 hit, we saw a massive acceleration in revenue, right? Which was the thing that we wanted. But what ended up happening was that we became the dog that caught the car, right? Like, well, okay, now we're here. We have all this revenue. We got more money than we know what to do with, but we didn't know how to efficiently produce all the product, because at the end of the day, you got to deliver, right? And if you deliver a poor experience or a poor product to your customer, they're not coming back. So we knew. I should say but we knew we were going to struggle to make money, and we kind of had the plan that we were going to increase efficiency and we were going to grow this company. And I think we were going to grow this company. And at the end of the day, we were basically going to play catch up, right? We were going to work so hard that we were going to figure out all these processes, and that we were going to turn this thing into a cash generating business that was going to, make us, 50, 60, 70 grand a month, right? And that was kind of the plan. But that's not what happened, right? We got so busy, we lost sight of a lot of what we were trying to do, these kind of ancillary goals, because we were constantly taking in sales, turning those sales over by hiring gobs of people. We turned over a good product, we had a great experience, and we delivered all this furniture, but at the end of the day, we made no money, right? So that's one of the things that we really learned. So revenue is not your goal. Your goal is to make money, right? So it only matters what you can put in your pocket, So anyway, that was an experience we learned. And again, that's part of 2024, right? Focus on margin. Okay. So here's another thing about the furniture business. We have several streams of revenue at the Resplendent Crow and here at Modern Woodworker. There's lots of different streams of revenue, and you're always working on them. Okay. So when I first came on board, all we really did was sell vintage furniture, which was a good business model. We made money. Labor was cheap. The cost of the furniture was super cheap. But as the years went on, it got insanely expensive. Labor's double what it used to be. The cost of acquiring goods is triple what it used to be. So when people say, inflation's coming down, like, no, it's not. It's going to take a long time. But anyway, so the cost to produce a good got significantly more expensive than it used to be. And anyway, I almost lost my train of thought there. Yeah, we learned that it only matters what you can bring home, and the cost to do all these things with vintage furniture was it's just become too expensive to procure that piece of furniture, fix it, paint it, and then ultimately wait for somebody to buy it and then ship it, right? So the process from procurement to delivery could be 3 months and it could be 3 years. There's no way to know. So vintage furniture is one of these things we kind of learned is not a good moneymaker. So at least not today. If labor costs and the cost to procure the product would come down, I think it might be okay to go back to that. So when we were moving, 99% of everything we sold was that, right? So then 2019 comes around, and now we're starting to make more things. We're starting to do modifications to the vintage furniture. We did that. Modifications were a great way to draw people in, but it's very hard to make money doing modifications. Even though lots of people wanted them, very hard to make money at that, So modifications coming down as well, right? We don't do as many modifications as we used to, or we're not going to. New furniture. So Yeah, 2019, 2020, we started making a lot more new furniture. And although we hadn't had our eyes set on like a furniture line, so to speak, we just knew we wanted to make new kinds of things and make variations of older pieces of furniture, but make them in new sizes. We started doing that, and that became much easier to make money. I'll talk about that in a second. So we started doing that. That became great. Then we started making our own product lines. Okay. Once we started making product lines, it became the margin became even higher because the cost of the goods, right, to make, or the materials to make a piece of furniture can be used across furniture lines. So if I buy one kind of leg piece of faux bamboo furniture, I can use that across 10 different cabinets, right? Whereas with a vintage piece of furniture, that vintage piece of furniture is unique, right? And although, yes, you can sell multiples of a specific piece of vintage furniture, when you offer 100 different pieces of vintage furniture, you're going to sell 100 different pieces of furniture. So that means you need 100 different hinges. You need 100 different kinds of hardware. You need 100 different, pieces of fretwork. You need 100 different accent pieces, different toe caps. You need so much shit, basically, to service those products that it's very hard to make money. And even though we have like massive collections of all the stuff at this point, then you have to have the labor, right? The skills to work on one piece of furniture and a completely different set of skills to work on another. And it's very hard to teach those people, and they're very expensive. So we learned that vintage furniture it's just very hard to make money, So vintage furniture in 2024 going to come way down. We may, basically stick to maybe a dozen or 2 dozen pieces of furniture vintage furniture that we know sells and that we're very good at working on. And that's probably what we'll sell. But the new stuff, like I said, it's such a moneymaker. The margins are so high on certain pieces, not everything. Dressers are not high margin. Credenzas are very high margin. Nightstands are fairly high margin. Vanities are very high margin. There's certain things you can just make a lot of money on. So if you can repeat those things, there's the opportunity, like I said, to put a lot of money in your pocket. So new furniture for us is definitely the way to go. So that's kind of the new furniture, or the furniture. But as far as the other revenue streams we have, so we also sell a lot of hardware. We have relationships in India, and we get solid brass hardware made, right? It's not the garbage stuff that you see all over the place. Like, it's the real deal. It's amazing. And the markup on that stuff is really good. And that's an industry thing. We're not special. We don't have we have a brand, but our brand doesn't necessarily allow us to sell, significantly higher than anybody else. There's kind of an industry markup on that kind of stuff, So that's a great moneymaker for us as well. We hope to push a lot more of that furniture. And when you make new furniture, you can put your hardware all over it. Works out great. So that's something we're working on. So that's another revenue stream. The other revenue stream that we have that we're working on is essentially the social media type revenue. Okay, there's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these things, and these are part of our 2024 goals is to start generating more revenue in this. Now, the Modern Woodrunner, which is something that I started, has I want to say it's like 750 subscribers, and I think I'm at like 1,500 watch hours, which I'm still trying to figure all that out. But as soon as I get to, I think, 3,000 hours of watch time and then 1,000 subscribers, I think you become monetized, and then you start making money off that. So if you go to this Modern Woodrunner channel, you'll see that I make all kinds of things, and I put on a tenth of what I make, right? So because the video process takes a long time, there's a lot of editing involved, and it's very hard to farm out. Like, there's a lot of gurus out there that they all seem to have the answers to tell you, oh, this is all you need to do to make your business work, and they're 90% of them are full of shit. Like, they're just these ideas that are good in and of themselves, but when you put them into a business, it's impossible. They don't work. And I have this saying, right? You can have, and this is a manufactured saying, and you could write this down. A has to work into B, right? It's very important. But most people don't understand that A also has to work into C, right? Because they're only thinking a step or two ahead, but you got to be thinking at the very end of your process, right? If you have a manufacturing process with, say, you got 5-6 different steps within your process, all those things have to work together. They can't be conflicting. And if they do that, it's gonna mess up your production, and a lot of people don't understand that. But that's a side note. I'm getting sidetracked. So no, so let's kind of talk about the revenue streams that we're working on in 2024. What makes us money, what doesn't make money, and like I said, I can go into detail on a lot of this stuff. Like I said, I don't mind talking about numbers and all that kind of jazz. Yeah, reduce vintage inventory. I got that. So we have at the Resplendent Crow, we have I think we had about 300 pieces upstairs. We have a 2-story facility, and we might be down to like 200 pieces. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to move this inventory, because here's the thing. It's kind of everyone knows about the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule, it's like you basically 80% of your inventory sits, you sell 20% of it, right? And then you discount everything and get rid of it, and you keep churning over that inventory. Except that we've never churned over our inventory. So we went from having maybe a 4,000 square foot facility to over 20,000 square feet in the span of 2 years. And we just grew and grew and grew and grew. And we kept acquiring pieces thinking that it was all going to sell and we would turn this inventory over. And most of it just doesn't turn over, and I'm sure it will at some point. But truth is the cash is more important than the potential income of that product, right? Because again, we bought it for, I don't know, $150 back in the day. We could probably sell it today for 300, so just get rid of it, because no one's going to buy it when it's painted. It takes too long to make that sale, so that's a business thing, right? Being able to turn over your inventory, because cash is more important than inventory in most cases. And plus the government taxes you on at the end of the year anyway. So, that's that. Another goal for 2024 is increase custom furniture awareness, right? So I'm working a lot more on sales now than I used to. I have a lot more contact with my customers than I used to. So I'm learning a lot about how our customers find us, what they think about our company, so on and so forth. And what I'm realizing is that even if you think you're doing an amazing job as a marketer or as a salesperson or whatever it is that you're doing, you probably need to show a little bit more. You're not doing as well as you think you are. Okay. And the reason I'm saying this is because I believed that our products were everywhere. Everybody knew what we did. We're like ubiquitous. Like everyone knows what the Resplendent Crow is. When you think of Kleenex, right, you think of tissues, right? But people don't understand that a tissue is not Kleenex, right? Kleenex is a brand. The thing is called tissue, right? It's tissue paper, and Kleenex is a brand. And I believe that the Resplendent Crow, when you thought of lacquered furniture, you literally thought of the Resplendent Crow, not the other way around. Like, oh, is that a Resplendent Crow? Is that a Resplendent Crow? Meaning lacquered furniture. Come to find out that part is actually pretty true. Like, people think of us as being an amazing lacquered furniture company. But what they don't think about is they don't think about the fact that we make furniture. And they don't think about the fact that we have an amazing custom shop and we can make anything, right? And we make some of the most beautiful things you've ever seen. Most people don't know that, which kind of blew my mind, and a lot of people think of us as a vintage furniture company. Like, oh my God, I love your faux bamboo furniture, and I love your, HEPA white pieces and all this kind of stuff. And it's cool. It's flattering, but there's so much more to the company, right? And if we want to continue to grow this, we have to increase the awareness of what it is that we do. So awareness of our custom shop is very important. And custom furniture is not a big time moneymaker. There's no doubt about it. But it's the exciting pieces that give you the ability to promote your company, right? Which is kind of the next thing I have written down here. The next thing written down is increase social presence, right? So I'm on this live thing right now. Like, this is not what I do. I make furniture, right? But here I am, right? I'm pushing this modern woodrunner thing. I'm throwing a lot of stuff out there, a lot of content for the Resplendent Crow, a lot of things on YouTube. Because here's the thing. And again, I would love a marketer to fill me in on this, but the way I understand it is that traditional marketing is dying, right? And traditional marketing is dying because so many people are able to do it, right? It's ridiculous just how much advertising is out there. It's hard to cut through all the noise when you got 1 billion people advertising with Google and with Facebook and with Instagram. So if you get organic traffic, right, if you can get people who are interested in you as an individual and as a company, it's much easier to get your products out to them, right? If you have mailing lists, emailing lists, if you have all these ways to contact YouTube subscribers, Instagram subscribers, all the stuff allows you to kind of cut through the noise a little bit easier and get to your customer, So that's the increased social media presence. And then more stuff going on here. Yeah, I'm learning this. I gotta learn to read this stuff. Okay, so I got two more things, and then I'll move on to some other things. I got increased design awareness. Okay, another thing that we do at the Resplendent Crow that most people don't know is that we have incredible design capabilities. I have a long background in aerospace and 3D engineering and all these kind of things that I learned as a fabricator. I never went to school for any of it. I just learned it because I did it for so long because nobody else would do it. So I just learned it and did it. But anyway, people don't know we do this, right? So I have these 3D models that I make of pretty much everything. And I offer this to my customers, and I have a set fee. I charge $500. I'll do a model for you. I'll show you. And if you don't like me, great. You can have the model. You can show somebody else and have them fabricated. But if you have me build it, right, then I credit that $500 towards your purchase. And it's a win-win for everyone, right? It gets me paid for my efforts, and if it doesn't work out, at least I have the money, right? And if it also gives them an incentive to wait for my product, to think about it. And then I can show them this amazing thing, and it entices them to buy, right? Or entices them to at least consider what it is that I do. And it's a good sales tool. With the 3D modeling, I probably have a 90% sales rate on that. If I get someone to pay $500 for me to make them a model, there's a 90% chance that they're going to buy whatever it is that I'm modeling for them, right? So that's really cool. And those are big ticket items in general. So that's a big thing. I want people to know that we do that. So I'm going to work on that in 2024. And then the last thing I wrote down is target high net worth individuals. This is a big one for me. This is probably the hardest thing to do because we have a lot of really wealthy clients, but we don't know these clients. We don't know these people, and it's very hard to target them, right? So I have one person, an individual that I'm going to target this year, and that person is Andy Frisella. Okay, and most of you don't know this person. He's one of the wealthiest people in St. Louis. He owns a company called First Form, and I want to sell one of my products to him or his wife. And anyway, this is it's a pie in the sky kind of a goal. We did a very high end musician last year, I should say now. So every year I'm going to pick this person. I didn't target this person, but I'm going to learn how to target people better because it's something that I'm not good at. It's a skill that I need to work on in 2024. So I'm going to figure out how to capture. We call it fishing for whales, right? Like my mom was in marketing, and she was a genius when it came to finding these big whale clients, right? So this is the thing I'm going to do, and it takes years to acquire these people. But once you acquire them, you have them forever. Okay, and I'll tell you a quick story, and then I'm going to move on. Quick story. So I was talking to a friend of mine who knows a lot about fashion. Okay, and he was telling me that there's a store in town called Saks Fifth Avenue, and anyway, that store pissed off one of the wealthiest families in the city of St. Louis, and you could probably guess who this family is. And that basically costs Saks about $300,000 a year, right? So think about that. One family can spend that much money on fashion at one store. I mean, so you can't piss these people off. But once you acquire these clients, you have them, and they are amazing clients. But man, you got to take care of them. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next stuff now. So those are kind of the goals that I have for 2024. Right? I'm going to increase the new furniture sales, and I'm going to increase hardware sales. I'm going to reduce my vintage inventory, and I'm probably going to reduce the vintage pieces that I offer on my website. Like I have probably 200 pieces that I offer on my website. Like it's impossible to navigate. That increased customer furniture awareness. So the fact we have an amazing custom shop, I'm going to promote the fact that we have this amazing ability here. So I need to do that. I'm going to target high net worth individuals, right? And I gave you one. Increase social media presence, which you've seen I've done. I mean, I've grown my social media 150%, I think, in the last 4 months. So really pushing that hard. Increased design awareness, right? We design stuff. We have amazing design capabilities, and it's fantastic. And if you're a designer, or if you're someone who has to present things to their customers, like we got great tools for you to do. I can make movies of all of our models and stuff like that. It's fantastic. So I'm going to work on that. All right. So I talked about 2023. I talked about what I'm going to do in 2024 and kind of my strategy. And then we're going to go back to 2023, and I'm going to talk about the things that I did well, and then the things that just were a complete cluster, the things that we really struggled with. And maybe you have some of the same problems. I don't know. So, okay, so things went right in 2023. We added new lines of furniture. This is something that we've not done a ton of, but we basically have lines of furniture. Right? We have an Emily line of furniture who is based off the designer Emily Hall. She's probably my favorite client. Just you meet people and they're kind of like, they're very charismatic, right? They're people that are just awesome, right? So love her. We named a furniture line after her. We also came up with an Emily vanity and Emily nightstands. Of course, we have dressers and all kinds of other stuff, but the new things were the vanity and the nightstands this year. We also came up with a complete line of Greek key furniture, right? This is called the Athens line. And we had a credenza. We've got nightstands, vanities. We did console tables. I did a couple of console tables. I did an attaché, and then I also did a desk, right? So we did all these pieces within this line, right? And these things photograph so well. And we get designers that come to us and they want different variations on this, right? And this is that custom work thing that I'm talking about. So these lines are fantastic. So that was one of the great things we did. To add a line of furniture in a year is awesome. And for a small company like us, it takes a lot of work. But it's really cool. It's nice to do. I get a lot of satisfaction out of it, and so do the people that work for us. Another thing we did is we added hardware line, right? So Sucheta put this entire hardware line together, and I helped her in the beginning. But man, she just took off and ran with it, and that's turned into an awesome business, right? Because not only do we have the new furniture, but then we get to put our hardware on there, right? So you're talking margin on top of margin, right? So there's great opportunities to make really good money there if you can push those products and promote them. So that was awesome. We added smalls. So smalls are things like, tchotchkes and lamps and, art, things like that. And honestly, that hasn't been so great. That was something that I'll talk about as something that didn't work out so well. I think it will work out. It's a very expensive to get that thing going, and then you have to turn it over, right? And this is part of learning. It's one thing to turn over hundreds of pieces of furniture a year. It's another thing to turn over hundreds of pieces of little thises and that's, right? It takes a lot of work. Let's see here. We had a standout employee. So we had an employee, his name's Manuel. And this guy, you get employees every now and again who are just eager to do anything. And they work at it and they get really good at it. And this guy was a fantastic employee. He started off as a sander for us years ago, and anytime we ask him to do anything, he does it, right? And then he kind of slowly gravitates towards these things. And as we have these problems, we're just like, hey, well, let's go ask this guy, And he, in my mind, he was just an awesome employee this year. And I know he's probably not watching this, but I noticed, we all noticed, he's a fantastic guy, and it's nice to have those people around when you get an employee who's just eager to do anything and just has a basically can-do attitude. Like, it's a real thing. Like, we notice, and it's awesome. So there's that. Let's see here. One of the things, we learned to cut costs dramatically. Okay. So that's, again, one of the failures of 2023. But on the good side, we did learn to cut costs in ways that we hadn't normally cut costs, right? Or we were a little bit more aggressive in trimming costs, whereas in the past, we'd be much more apt to say, oh, well, it's going to get better. Oh, this is going to get better. It's like, no, just make the move right now because it's not getting better. And if it does get better, then you can make the change then. So anyway, I got started Modern Woodrunner, grew IG over 100%, grew YouTube. Yeah, I talked about all that stuff, And then also we put together the Modern Woodrunner website, right? We hired a couple of VAs. And Sucheta got with them and put together this website. I put a bunch of drawings together, a bunch of models and all kinds of products and things, and stuck it on there. And I was gun ho on that one. I got it up and running, but honestly, I've left it to the wayside just a little bit. So I need to get back to that in 2024. Hopefully, I can do that. All right, it says here that's waiting for the network. Okay, so I think I'm still good. Okay, anyway, so those things went really well in 2023. So the things that went really wrong in 2023, I guess is what everyone wants to hear. So for a company that operates as much revenue as we do, like, we didn't turn much of a profit. Over the course of the year, I mean, we probably made, by the time it's all said and done, we're probably going to make 5%. Maybe 10%, somewhere there. So it's not terrible, but it's not what you want as a business owner. And it's that lesson that helps you to grow. So I've had years where I've made a shit ton of money, and I've had years where I've lost a shit ton of money. So this idea that a business owner just always makes money and we're all just living in our castle on the hill is complete garbage. So yeah, so probably making money this year, but man, it looks awesome for 2024. And I'm not even kidding. I'm more excited about 2024 than I think I have been the entire time I've been here, because we just have so many great things going on right now. Let's see, laid off 3 employees, had to lay off employees. That never feels good. And having those conversations with people is always rough. And I've been in manufacturing for 20 plus years, and I've actually never been laid off. But I've seen it done, hundreds of times, so it's something you never want to do, because, people have families, and we as business owners take that shit real seriously. And it just is something you just never want to do, and anyone says that, laying people off is easy, blah, blah, blah. It's, it's not your problem. It's their problem. Like, those people are bastards. Anyway. So that was not good. I don't like doing that. Hopefully we'll be able to hire those people back in 2024. So, reduce shipping hours and costs. So yeah, one of the great things about our company is we have an amazing experience. Okay. And here's something that people need to think about. It's another one of those write this down things. It doesn't matter. You could deliver the most amazing product. You could deliver like my wife says, you could deliver baby Jesus, right? If the person that delivers that product is an asshole, or is unkept, or hits on the people that you're delivering furniture, or does any of these stupid things, it doesn't matter what you deliver. That experience is screwed. It's done. That no matter what kind of product you deliver, the taste in that person's mouth is not going to be good, right? The odds of that person being a repeat customer go down significantly. So we offer an amazing experience at the end of our delivery. People love Almir, people love Bernardo, and it is very expensive to keep these guys. And this is my biggest headache, is shipping, because it is so goddamn expensive. But at the end of the day, we have a lot of repeat customers, and I honestly attribute it to that. But anyway, we learned to cut costs there, because it just is so expensive, So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. If you don't have the revenue, it's very hard to, provide that crazy level of service, So that was kind of a bummer. I didn't like doing that, but it is what it is. And another thing we did wrong in 2023 is we burned a lot of cash, and this is one of those things. And here's a lesson from me to you. You need to you need to push that mindset back that things are going to get better, right? It's okay to have that mindset for a week, and it's okay to have that mindset for 2 weeks. But if you get to that 3-week mark, or you even get to that 2-week mark, right? And you're seeing that thing, like, you need to trim costs immediately. You need to have a plan to move your expenses down quickly, because if it doesn't come back, the more cash that you burn gets progressively harder on you, right? Like, you have a big pile of cash. It's easy to spend money when you have that big pile of cash, but as that cash pile starts to dwindle, every dollar that you spend becomes more valuable, right? So it's trim costs rapidly, something we learned to do. Sucks, but that's what you gotta do. Let's see here. Oh yeah, for this is the first month, right? Well, actually, I'm gonna leave that one out, to be quite honest with you. So I had an $800 water bill. That was a good one. This is all my fault here. I had an $800 water bill. I think I had it 2 months this year. And basically what happened is we have a couple of bathrooms in our facility, and the toilet was literally just leaking, right? The flapper on the inside had gone, it basically got too hard to close the water off from going down the drain. Anyway, that thing, it just ran for days, weeks, who knows? Anyway, we got the bill, and it was just like, holy shit. And you got to keep up with stuff, right? And $800 is a lot of money, right? It's basically literally money going down the drain, right? When people talk about money going down there, that's what it is. It's little things like that. And you take 2 or 3 of those instances, hell, I'm just going to say, you take a couple of those a year, like, that adds up. That's somebody's salary for a week. That could be someone's salary for a month. So you got to keep up on that stuff. So we learned to watch that stuff like a hawk. Same thing with heat. And then the other thing we did is Yeah, I wrote waited too long to cut costs. Like that was a big one. You know, you gotta cut costs. It's very important that you do it quickly. Yeah, and I wrote a sales soon would be assumed sales would come back too quickly, right? We were too optimistic, you know, and it's because as a company, our growth has been double, 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 double. Like you could only double for so many years, right? And eventually it's got to come down, right? And when your sales only go up, you know, when it comes down, you're just like, it'll go back up, you know, except that when it does go back up, it only comes up like this. And then it comes up like this, and it comes up like this. Instead of just kind of doing this, yeah. So anyway, so that was something we learned in 2023. Won't do that anymore. Learned our lesson there. So again, revenue does not equal money, right? Just because you have sales does not mean you're keeping any of it, right? Keeping money is the most important thing. So that's what I wrote down for what went wrong in 2023. Yeah. So my action items. Okay. Here's the last thing I'm gonna talk about. Man, I don't know how many minutes I'm at on this thing. I gotta say somewhere. Sorry, guys, my first time. Oh, there you go, 40 minutes. Cool. So I've been talking for a while. Okay, so my action items for 2024, right? As a company, and I started to write down stuff like on a personal level, you know, but I'll keep that for another time. So here are my action items for 2024. Okay, the first thing I wrote down is in Q2. I am taking my furniture to High Point. Okay, and everyone says, "What's High Point?" High Point is the place you go to show the industry, the furniture industry, your wares, right? It's a big, all the designers come together. They're buying stuff for their customers. The people that own stores are buying stuff for stores. So it's a place for all of us vendors to come together and basically have, 100,000 people look at your stuff in the span of a week. It's pretty cool. So anyway, I've been there twice, but I've never taken anything. I just looked, and I've done enough looking, and I said I was going to go last year and I didn't. And big mistake, huge mistake. So this year, Q2, I believe it's in April, I will be there. I will have a booth, and I don't care if I have to just sit at that fucking booth, sitting on the floor, waiting to talk to people with my little Resplendent crow sign. Like, I will be there. It's very important to me. But ideally, I'll have my furniture there. So anyway, that's my plan. I'm going to take some furniture to High Point. I'm going to show off our stuff. And that's going to be a tool that I can use to, again, help me grow my customer base and help me grow sales. So yeah, the other thing I wrote down is create next furniture line. So by the end of Q1, I should have my next furniture line, and usually a furniture line, we like to start with a dresser, some nightstands, and usually some kind of a adorned piece like either a credenza or a china cabinet or an attaché or something like that. So, and honestly, I'm not even sure what the hell I'm going to build. Like, I have some ideas, but I got to kind of look around and see what's kind of in vogue right now. Add drawing list of the Modern Woodrunner is another thing I wrote down. So again, the Modern Woodrunner website, I was gung-ho on it. I got it going. Got the mailing list going. I got drawings, products, I got all kinds of good stuff up there. But then I fell off a cliff, right? So I need to get back on that. I have hundreds of drawings. I literally have hundreds of them. So I need to get some of those things put up. But the thing about putting drawings on a website for sale is that you really have to put out a really good drawing, right? It's one thing if I'm reading my own drawing. It's a whole other thing if someone else is reading my drawing. So anyway, that's a whole discussion. YouTube monetized in Q1. So I believe that my website or my YouTube page will be monetized in Q1, right? So it's going to create yet another revenue stream and another way for me to get to my customers. It's very important to me. So anyway, that's what I got going on there. And then last thing I wrote down was IG to 10,000. So yeah, so my IG account, it's growing exponentially at this point. I want to get that thing to 10,000. That's kind of my goal for next year. And I should be able to do that. I mean, I should be able to do that in the first half of the year, I would imagine, so that's kind of a big thing. So anyway, these are kind of my action items for 2024 that I've written down for Q1 and Q2. And I'm sure there's more, but that's all I got. And anyway, that's what I'm going to have for this live. And I hope there's something useful for people in here. I know it's a little bit of me rambling, but I tried to keep it pithy, and I tried to give you guys information about the company, about what we're doing moving forward, and some of the things that we did great in 2023, some of the things we didn't do so great. Like I said, I'd love to hear all your issues that you've had, things you did great, ideas, suggestions, whatever. I like it all, So it's just, again, it's a way for me to interact with people, and as I'm growing all of these social media entities, just engage with people, because that's the game. It is what it is. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm the modern woodworker, Eric. My wife's Suchetta. We own the Resplendent Crow, and we're here in St. Louis, Missouri. And yeah, have a good one. Everyone do great in 2024. Gosh, got to figure out. There you go. End stream.